On this episode, the I Believe You campaign.
And those are single-handedly the most powerful words you can say to a survivor.
Welcome to Road to Hope. I'm your host, Bianca Jade. Sexual assault affects women, men, children. It affects all nationalities and religions. But those that are affected the most are young females attending universities. On this episode, we are in Edmonton, and we look how we can all help sexual survivors. Only 6% of sexual assault cases are reported to police. 80% of those victims are women. And those startling stats are most prevalent on university campuses all throughout North America.
Come on in, my office is right in here.
Today we are at MacEwan University in Edmonton, where Jill Green, a psychologist with extensive experience working with trauma, is bringing her aid to students on campus.
Everything that you speak to a counselor about stays strictly private. As a psychologist at the university, I do work with students every day, and they can be more recent experiences of sexual violence, or they can certainly be fairly historical as people are bringing their experiences with them onto campus.
On first visits like this one, many of the students share their stories, otherwise known as disclosures, with Jill.
Whether they were a little kid telling someone, whether they're an adult or just last week, or maybe it's even just happening in the office, right, in that moment. And there's so much power in that first kind of moment of saying that something happened and putting out that experience and kind of floating out there that little piece of information. And there's a lot of unsureness, I think, that can happen, kind of that gauging of how that other person's going to respond.
Not everyone discloses to a professional. A survivor's relationship with the first person they disclose to is delicate, prompting Deb Tomlinson from Alberta Sexual Assault Services to create a new campaign.
We've done campaigns that have targeted victims. I mean, if you look at all the prevention tips, they're all about how victims should behave. And what we don't see is that every victim is surrounded by a group of people, their family and friends, who have a tremendous amount of influence on what they do, what their decisions are.
According to Deb, there couldn't be a better place for this program.
Young adults in general, they're at a time in their life when they're looking at their values, they're looking at their beliefs. They're going to develop ones that might not be the same as mom and dad's. They're going to explore new options. And it's a learning environment. So what a great place to target for a campaign like this.
Megan Steiner has seen this program in action. Not only a MacEwan student, but she's also a call center volunteer, where she often answers the helpline phone to hear disclosures.
It's so rewarding when I answer the phone and I can help them out and direct them to the counselor or just direct them to where they need to go. And it's really rewarding knowing that I'm just a small part of this big picture and I'm really offering the help that they need. I stay strong by just remembering that my voice is one thing that they hear, and I have to know that I'm the one person, maybe the first person that they've told. And so I have to know that if I stay strong, I have to be strong for them, and they can gain strength from that.
For the original team that brought the I Believe You campaign to MacEwan University, passing on that empowerment is what it's all about.
It's really been a benefit for our program that it is applicable across our campus, so it involves faculty and staff, but most of all students. Really, we recognize that we needed to get more education and involvement with the students, and it really has been a cross-campus initiative.
Causing her to be elated with the feedback that they are already receiving from this relatively new campaign.
The true spark, in my view, in this program has been the involvement of the students. They have come to the table just so excited about the program, and they're talking about it. They're involved in our video campaign and our banner campaign, social media. So that has really been the proud moment for me.
A shared feeling with the Edmonton sexual assault team, who are well aware of the need for this campaign on university campuses.
So we want to provide people education on the issue. So we want to let them know how sexual assault and consent are defined in Canada, and we also want to let them know how to best support survivors should somebody come to them with a disclosure that something's happened.
It's because, as we know, the incidence of sexual violence on campuses throughout the city and throughout the country, for a matter of fact, is rampant. It has been, and it continues to rise.
Specializing in supporting survivors, the SACE team is impressed with the structure of the I Believe You campaign.
The power of the I Believe You campaign is to let communities know that whether you're supporting somebody in a professional or a personal capacity, being able to offer your support and your assistance, your empathy, your compassion to that person is very, very simple. It basically boils down to listening to that person, letting them speak, letting them tell their story, free of judgment, and just letting them know that you believe them. And those are single-handedly the most powerful words you can say to a survivor of sexual assault. I'm sorry this happened, I believe you.
The only person responsible for the sexual assault is in fact the perpetrator. You are a survivor, you can heal. The most important place to start is by believing and supporting and listening to that person's story.
Because they're not going to be afraid to tell the next person. They're not going to be afraid to go seek a counselor. They're not going to be afraid to maybe go tell the university administration or the police. They're not going to hold it in. They're going to be willing to tell somebody else, and that's where healing starts, right there.
It's really powerful. I get emotional thinking about it sometimes because every now and then after a presentation, I'll have somebody come up to me and say, thank you for coming and speaking today. I know that what happened wasn't my fault.
As we return to Jill's office here on campus, she continues to meet with new patients, and you can see her passion for her work.
It's really important for a survivor to hear that it's not your fault. It doesn't matter what you were wearing, what you were doing.
And just like the rest of this powerful team supporting these students, Jill is honored and hopeful for the future as these stats change for the better.
New students who have found me and found my office in Wellness and Psychological Services, something has happened to them. They knew that because of seeing these things on campus that help would be available, and they sought it out and found it. So that's change right there.
As the I Believe You campaign continues to spread all across Alberta, please follow the information on your screen to learn how you could support someone in making their own disclosure. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Road to Hope.